Welcome back to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten. Today, I have someone that has been in my life for a little while. Her name is Alaina, and her last name right now is Cross. It used to be Alaina Ronke. Okay, so Alaina and I go all the way back to my EXCA days. So EXCA stands for the Extreme Cowboy Association. All right, so Alaina, let's do a little bit of introduction for you. So, how old are you?
I am 26.
You're 26. Now, how long did you do the EXCA racing?
I did EXCA for, I believe, right at 8 years, because I started in the youth, and I was like 13, I think, and I raced all the way up till right about 19.
Okay. Yeah, because whenever I met you, you were in the youth division, or maybe you were in like a green horse division or something, or a futurity.
Yes, I did the futurity 1 year, and then I was in non-pro for a couple of years.
Okay.
As well.
So the futurity, for people that are out there, that is like the future of the horse industry. So like you had a horse named what, Dolly?
I did. I still have her.
You still have Dolly. And then you had a Mustang that you competed on. What was is it Tank?
Titus. And he is, he is still with me also. He's toting around my kids and giving lessons these days.
Okay. So kiddos, how many? Now you've got a stepdaughter, and then you've got 2 sons also. You've got 3 kiddos in y'all's family.
Sure do. It's a little bit of a handful sometimes.
So, and your husband, Troy, y'all have been married for how many years?
We've been married for coming up on 6 years.
Okay. So being a 26-year-old and your stepdaughter's 10, how is that? How is it with having a stepdaughter? Is it amazing, or is there bickering, or how is it coming into a marriage with and becoming a stepmom?
Well, given that I was pretty young when Troy and I met and got together, it was a little bit of an adjustment because it's like you're instantly someone's mom, essentially. Even though she has a really great mom who's super involved. So it was definitely kind of nerve-wracking on my end, and there's some bumps when you're learning how to co-parent with another parent that you didn't have a previous relationship with, but you have to have a relationship with because you're marrying their ex, essentially. And so there's definitely been some bumps along the way, but Aurora and I get along really well, and she is starting to enjoy riding with me a lot more and taking it more seriously. So that's kind of exciting for me because my boys are not old enough to do quite as much as I would like to be able to do with them. So it's nice that I can take her out and we can go on trail rides and stuff where they can't yet.
Okay. So just so we paint a picture, you have a 10-year-old and then you have a 2 and a 3-year-old boys.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how is that? How are you sane? How are you sane with those 2
most
boys?
days I'm not. They are certainly ornery little stinks. But they are a lot of fun. They're good kids for the most part. And of course, there's always the terrible 2s and toddler tantrums, but for the most part, we are pretty lucky to have some good kids.
Well, and then, hey, if you had it to do all over again, do you like having them back to back, or do you think that you would have wanted to spread them out?
Oh, I definitely would have wanted to spread them out. However, I know in the future, I think I'm really going to like having them back to back because it's like instant playmate. So that'll be kind of nice.
Okay. And so whenever you and Troy have come out to our ranch, man, it is like y'all are like the younger versions of my husband and I. So what's Troy do for a living?
Troy works in the research and development facility for Hill's Pet Nutrition.
Okay.
I don't know his actual job title. It's something to do with engineering, but they test product for the Science Diet dog food. But he used to be a maintenance mechanic for them and moved up in the company, and that's why he's at research and development now.
Okay. How did y'all meet?
We actually met online, believe it or not.
Well, I told you, y'all are miniature versions of David and I. David and I met online because whenever I moved when I moved to Missouri, I didn't know anybody.
It's I guess it's not as taboo as it might have used to be to meet someone online.
Yeah,
but
it kind of made me feel weird because I meet people all the time, but it was just man, I'm a lot, sometimes for people to take in, and it just with dating online, it just was a lot easier just to be like, I don't know, already kind of fill in some of those boxes, so then they knew what the heck they were getting into. So, well, okay. So you used to, is Dolly a Mustang also?
No, she is not. She's a quarter horse.
Okay.
She's actually a granddaughter of Shining Spark and Boogie Splashy Jack.
Okay. Well, what made you, so before, because Mustangs, there's a lot of people that just love Mustangs. So what made you get into Mustangs?
Working for Cindy Branham actually is how I got into Mustangs. When I started taking lessons from her as a 12-year-old, she was doing a lot of the Mustang makeovers and like Mustang Million and the Extreme Mustang Makeover in Fort Worth, and that's kind of how I got into Mustangs. And she's continued to work with them over the years, but definitely I don't think I would have been as exposed to them if I wasn't working for her. And I'm very thankful for that because I do have a strong passion myself for working with Mustangs. I think it's a very rewarding part of training to take a completely untouched horse and get them gentled down to where you can treat them as a domestic.
Right. Cindy has, she's competed here at Von Holten Ranch because we host all sorts of competitions. And I actually, we hosted something, I think it was called We Ride. It was an association where they had competitions with the horse and the dog, and is a lady that had a nationwide magazine, and she put on an obstacle competition. And I actually got to see Cindy win a championship saddle here at the ranch. And I've seen her do well. I've seen her students do well, and she does a lot of stuff with Liberty work. Do you do Liberty work with your horses?
I do. Definitely not as much as Cindy has continued to do, but I take what I've learned from her and kind of use it when I need to. And I always am able to call her if I have questions as well, which is super nice. And she's very good at giving me advice if I get stuck on something.
Okay. Because some people that are listening to my podcast, some of them have nothing to do with horses at all. So will you explain in your terms, like what it means to work with a horse in Liberty?
So Liberty work is what I would describe as like hands-off training. So you're not attached to your horse in any way. You don't have a rope on them. You don't have a halter on them. And it's using a lot of body position and really going back to like herd instincts with a horse and getting them to connect up to you. And essentially, you can ask them to move their hip around you, and you're doing that strictly off of using body position and the connection that you're building with that horse. So that's how I would describe Liberty work.
Okay. Do you find that it's more beneficial to do Liberty work or to just use a round pin and use a lunge rope for later transitioning into saddle? Do you find that Liberty or non-Liberty works best for you?
With the Mustangs, I think specifically them do really well with the Liberty work because all of the knowledge that they have prior to coming is Liberty work within their herd dynamic. So I think it's an easier stepping stone for a Mustang or even just any untouched horse to build off of. I think it's less pressure and gives a better opportunity for a lasting partnership. With domestics that I have come in that are already halter broke, I do a little bit of Liberty work, but probably not as much as I would with something that's untouched. So I think there's definitely a place for it in all types of training. A lot of it for me depends on the owner's goals and stuff, because I could spend weeks working on Liberty, and if the owner's never going to use it, then it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
So
in right now in the horse industry, are you training horses or breaking them, or what are you doing right now?
Right now I'm doing a lot of colt starting. I have had some just basic tune-ups or problem horses come in over this year, but the year 2022, I think I've started maybe between 15 to 20 colts and halter broke a couple of weanlings. That's kind of been my focus for the year, is a lot of colt starting.
So have you found the people that are hiring you, how are they finding you?
Mostly word of mouth. I've had a lot of repeat customers as well this year, and my farrier's been referencing a lot of people to me as well. And I would say word of mouth is definitely my greatest avenue for bringing in new business. But I do some online advertising as well on Facebook, and I've found a couple people that way.
What's your business name?
Cross Horsemanship. We're located in Burlingame, Kansas, just 30 miles south of Topeka. We've got 40 acres with some trail obstacles through a wooded area and an outdoor arena and round pen, and we're just slowly building up our operation out here.
Okay. All right. So I want to go back to Cindy for just a second. Now, Cindy has a daughter and a son, and the son, he and the daughter, both of them used to do extreme cowboy racing with you. However, tragedy struck, and her son Justin actually passed away, and that was one of your childhood friends. So,
yeah.
Did you tell us a little bit about the friendship that you and Justin had?
Justin was definitely probably one of my greatest friends growing up through middle school and high school. We got along really well. He was very goofy and definitely like a younger brother to me. And he was always extremely ornery, so you always had to be on your toes with him. But it was just a very genuine friendship that we had.
Something I remember about him is his cowboy hat was always rough looking. He always wore this rough cowboy hat, and he was always smiles, and he would try so hard. And, I've always felt really connected with Cindy over the death of her son, because it was around the same time that my niece passed away. So I know on social media, whenever Cindy, the yearly things, whenever they come up on social media, it always I remember those same emotions going on around the same time. So I've always felt really connected with her. However, we're going to come back to Justin in a little bit, because you had something happen this year, and I think you about scared the pants off of your husband one day whenever he came home, and you had come off of a horse in a round pen. So,
Yeah.
okay, so tell us about that.
So it was mid-September. I was actually working with the client's horse, and the clients were there. We were doing a little lesson with one of my horses, and I was showing them the progress that their horse had made. This particular horse, his name was Whiskey, and he was a halflinger, and he came with some pretty major bucking issues. Like you couldn't even swing your leg up towards him because he would just take off bucking before you got on. And unfortunately, he had been sold as kid safe. And after he was brought home, that was clearly not the case. Right. So they sought out training. And at the time of my wreck, I had like 6 weeks in with him, and I was able to ride him a few times. And we were really just focusing on getting him quieter to mount up, because that was where a lot of his trigger was for bucking, was just the process of mounting up. So I was just doing up downs in the stirrup, which is just where you have your foot in the stirrup and you're bouncing up and down next to them, and then can either lean over or kind of swing your leg over like you're actually getting on. And I do not have firsthand recollection of my wreck at all. So this is just what I was told happened, is that I was kind of leaning over him and he like leapt forward and bucked, and my foot did not come loose of the stirrup. I was drugged for between 20 to 30 feet and knocked unconscious and had a seizure. And my clients ran and got Troy, and I had to be transported in an ambulance and brought into the ER as a trauma. And like I said, I don't really remember much of that day. I like have little bits and pieces of things that I saw or heard, but a lot of that day is just what people have told me went on. And luckily I was pretty okay from my wreck. So that was definitely
broken, right? Nothing broken and no major cuts or anything. You just kind of didn't remember what happened that day, just banged up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just very lucky, for sure.
So now then, whenever they did some tests on you, what did they find?
So because I was knocked unconscious and had the seizure, they did a ton of scans. So I had a full workup of MRI, CAT scan, x-rays, and they found in my CAT scan that I had some abnormal lymph nodes that were concerning. So within that week of that wreck, I ended up having a biopsy surgery on one of those lymph nodes and found out that I have stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so I got started in with chemo less than a month after my wreck. So that was pretty crazy way to find out that you have cancer.
Well, and you know what? I think you know that I've had cancer before. And,
yes.
Man, it is. And it was in my 20s. And I will tell you, boy, it just stops you in your tracks because, you're like, it's something you wouldn't even fathom. In your 20s, you ain't thinking about cancer. You're not thinking about nothing, And then so.
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean, it was like I was sprinting and then somebody like released a, something that just catches all the wind and like keeps you from going forward like a whole, it was an emotional roller coaster for me. And then, but I didn't even have kids, so I know that the mama in you and all of the, oh my gosh, I had a wreck. And then what,
right.
Oh, I mean, like,
yeah, it's been a lot to process, to say the least. And you're right, with kids, it's like, even though I have like a really good prognosis and so far treatment is going well, you still think about what if treatment doesn't work and I just have this until I like end up dying from it or something and miss something with my kids but just kind of, I trust my team of doctors and I am having good response to the chemotherapy. So I'm definitely confident that, it's going to be clear. It just takes the time it takes.
Well, and you know what? Like, if you would have not have had that wreck, I mean, like, talk about being grateful to have a wreck, you know, like, because you would have not have went and had those tests done for any reason, you know, you wouldn't have, no telling how long it would have went on if you would have not have had,
Absolutely.
golly, I mean, it just,
Because I was having zero symptoms whatsoever, which they were actually surprised by because some of my lymph nodes that were involved were literally like clustered around my heart. And so they thought that I would be experiencing shortness of breath or trouble breathing when doing activity. And I was not having any symptoms like that whatsoever. So, I mean, who knows how long I would have gone non-symptomatic and had to be farther along or whatever to get it found out.
well, and you know, like so close to the pandemic, if somebody's short of breath, boom, you think you got COVID, you know, or you would have just think you had a cold or whatever. You would have not have been like, oh, I wonder if I got some swollen lymph nodes around my heart, you know, like you wouldn't have, you would have not have put those things together. You would have been like, oh, okay, I need to get some vitamin C and some zinc. I need to eat some elderberries.
Exactly.
You know, you would have put it into a different category just because of the time that we're in right now. And
right.
So back to Justin, you said that so on the day that you had your wreck, tell us, you know, with Cindy's deceased son Justin, you said that you thought you saw him.
Yeah. So as I said, I really only remember bits and pieces of that day. And I remember right after my wreck waking up and like seeing my neighbor's face, who is actually the chief of police in our town. My husband had called him immediately and he was there within, I think, a couple of minutes of my wreck to be a first responder. But so I remember seeing his face and then going back out and then not really remembering anything until I kind of woke up in the ambulance, and I swear that I saw Justin standing there. Didn't say anything or anything like that, but I just remember seeing him. And when I told his parents about this, they kind of joked that he probably spooked my horse to cause the wreck to find the cancer. So that's kind of it just makes you feel maybe a little better about things.
Yeah.
Having someone look out for you.
Most definitely. Well, and I'm just like so grateful that you had that wreck, you know, because man, you're 26 years old and you're healthy and your husband adores you and your kids are, you know, like, oh my gosh, you have like this great thing going on, and being another female horseman out there and you're starting freaking 15 colts in a year. Like, how cool is that? You know? I'm just so grateful that they've got that and your treatment is going on well. So, all right. You have posted some pictures on social media because the hair is gone. And it was, it was a little fuzzy on top. And my husband got so mad at me because I responded on there like, well, you still got more hair than David on top of your head. And my husband was like, Brandy. And I was like, come on. You know, she does have more hair than my husband does on top. But, okay, so tell me about not having hair. Do you keep on getting like a big wad of shampoo and then you're like, oh, I forgot, or anything like that?
No, not so much on the shampoo. I will say losing my hair has probably been one of the hardest things for me, just like mentally processing, because I had very long hair. It was down like mid back, like just below my, between my lower back and like the top of my butt was where my hair was at. And
your hair is beautiful. Your hair is thick. It's brown. It's just this beautiful head of hair. And I knew. And you had shaved a little bit off just to make the transition easier for you.
I did. Because my nurse team, so when you get cancer, you get like a nurse liaison who pretty much helps you schedule all of your like coinciding doctor's appointments between your oncologist, and I have a cardiologist as well to monitor my heart during treatment. And she was very good about letting me know that I am probably 100% going to lose my hair. So just to be prepared for it. And so I went ahead and shaved the bottom half of my head off before I started treatment. And it was after my second chemo treatment is when I started pulling clumps of hair out. And for me, at that point, it was like, I don't want to have it slowly fall out and just be upset all the time by seeing these clumps of hair come out. So I went ahead and just shaved my head completely, which was, I mean, it's still sometimes hard to think about not having hair because my hair was a huge part of my identity. Like I always have had long, like luscious hair and it's just gone. So that's, yeah.
A lot of my friends that have had cancer and their hair grew back, it grew back curly or a little bit thicker. But I've had people that it changed the texture a little bit, just made it a little bit curlier. So,
yeah, I've heard that as well. So I'm definitely interested to see how it grows back, but we got some time before that happens.
Right. What is the expected, like, how long does it take after the last treatment, and when is your last treatment? Did they have a date so far?
If my schedule stays the same and I don't have anything come up that I need longer treatment, which it doesn't seem like I'm going to, my last treatment will be sometime in March. And as far as my hair growing back, I've actually had some new growth in the last week. So they said everybody's kind of different. And even with still being in chemo, like they're not entirely surprised that my hair is growing some. So we'll see how much it grows between now and then. But for now, it's growing just a little bit. I've got some stubble on my head.
Well, and you know what? Okay. My hair's long. My husband loves long hair, but whenever I met him, it was short. And I've always told him, like, man, I want to cut this hair off so freaking bad. And I see you with your bald head right now, and your face is so beautiful. And like, I'm like, my gosh, it makes me want to have shorter hair because it makes your eyes pop. Man, I don't know. You're like the most beautiful bald woman I've ever seen in my life. I love the way your face looks and you can see it. So, I mean, like, I know you're not wanting to hear all that, but I'm like, you are so pretty. You are the prettiest bald person ever.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That actually, it's kind of funny you say that because I just went and visited my grandmother, who is the person that absolutely started my spark of being interested in horses. Yeah. She has late stage Alzheimer's. She does not remember much, but she always remembers horses and talking to me about horses. And we just went and visited her earlier this week, actually. And she does not know I have cancer because she would not remember if I had told her. Right. So we just don't really talk about it. But now that I am bald, I wore a bandana just to cover it so the question wouldn't come up. But before we were leaving, she even though she doesn't always remember who I am, but she took me by both shoulders and was like, "You are just so beautiful." And that just made me feel a lot better. But she's a very sweet lady, but yeah, she's definitely who sparked my interest in horses from the get-go. She grew up on a farm in Iowa, and they had plow horses that she always loved, and she's the only reason that I'm in the horse industry, to be honest with you.
Wow. You know, my mom was the one. I don't think I've ever seen a grandparent of mine ride a horse. My mom loved horses, and now it's kind of weird because like the torch has been passed on to me, and now my mom only gets to ride the best of my best horses, and, you know, I have to make sure that she's safe. And But early on, she was always making sure I was safe, so
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it's kind of fun to see like the torch be passed down and of, future horse riders. But, well, and you know what, with your grandmother taking you by the shoulder and telling you how beautiful you are, words mean so much more than what people realize.
Yeah.
Oh, just a compliment here or anything, like I'm on social media like a freak, like I'm nuts. Okay. Like right now I've been doing some ice plunge challenges and stuff. And so, and I'm a larger person in my bathing suit, and man, the support that people have given me, it means a lot, and you would think that it doesn't because, social media is not real. It's not in person, but like, man, when people take the time to say something and it's supportive, it does mean something. It's not just, clatter or whatever. I don't even know the right word, but it means something whenever people say good job or you look pretty or good job, So
I agree.
Mm-hmm. So
I've been sharing more of my treatment stuff because it is helpful to know we have people kind of backing us up and being there when we need it. We've got a lot of support as I've been cutting back my training schedule and that kind of thing. So I definitely understand what you mean. Like it's helpful to know that people are rooting for you.
Oh yeah. So what's if everything goes well in March, so after March, what's 2023 got in it for you?
Probably a lighter workload. I really worked a lot in 2022, and I didn't get the chance because I kept my schedule so heavy to haul out as much as I would have liked. So I am going to keep a lighter training schedule so that I have more free time to enjoy our personal horses and take the kids out and go trail riding more. But I'm still working right now. I just have just a smaller schedule of outside horses. So I plan on keeping a lighter schedule for work, and I would like to actually do a Mustang challenge. I have not picked which one to do yet, but I've looked at a couple of different makeovers or tip challenges. The EXCA also offers that Mustang class now, which I haven't seen them put out information for 2023 for it yet, but I'm assuming they'll do it again. So I'd be interested in that one as well. But really 2023, I'm really hoping to get back into competing and just kind of doing a little bit more of what I love to do within the horse industry. And I do love starting colts. It's just, that's all I did this year. So I'd like to branch back out to haul out and just get more exposure that way and really just enjoy the year as best I can.
Yeah. A lot of people I've seen, like, coming out of the pandemic and everything, man, a lot of people are like, I'm taking time to do what I want to do. I want to, it helped us prioritize family a little bit more and kind of get out of the rat race as much and be like, okay, what do I need? And I don't know, it just seems like a lot of people are prioritizing again. And it sounds like you're trying to put yourself back up on the front burner a little bit, which is wonderful for it's wonderful for your kids to see, and it's just, there's more to life than paying bills and working. So
you are absolutely correct.
Yeah. Hey, so something that you had said that you wanted to do, I want to make sure and elaborate on it because some of my clients might not know what the heck you're talking about, but you said you might want to do a tip challenge. So what is TIP?
TIP is the trainer incentive program that Mustang Heritage Foundation offers in connection with the BLM. So the actual TIP program is where they have trainers throughout the United States that will take Mustangs from the BLM facility and halter break them, get them picking up their feet, and just basic kind of groundwork handling. And then the TIP trainer's job is to adopt that horse out within X amount of time of taking them from the facility. And the Mustang Heritage Foundation will then pay that trainer for their time and getting that horse adopted. So a TIP challenge is kind of through that, except for you get 100 days with the horse, and it's just groundwork. And then you go to a big competition, and they have a freestyle routine. They have a trail course, usually, and then a conditioning class to see, that your horse is in good condition. It's almost like a miniature Mustang makeover without the riding part of it. Okay. Just strictly groundwork.
Okay. All right. Before we get off of here, I want to elaborate on how much I love your husband. That is a good man. I am so glad that y'all found each other. That man adores you, and he is a good father. And a lot of people are always like, they think strong women, because you're a strong woman, I'm a strong woman. They think, oh, I bet y'all wear the pants in your family. And you always have to listen to all that. And here you are breaking horses for a living, okay? But, man, it takes a strong guy to be with a strong girl. And I just applaud your husband. I've seen him on social media. Y'all been going on dates, and he's been so active with the kids, and he's been active with your treatment. And, I know it's stressful for him to have his spouse going through cancer treatment, and he just seems like he's just been on board. And I just want to give him some props for being one of the good guys. So.
Absolutely. I am extremely blessed to have Troy. He is, I don't even know if I could describe how helpful he has been through my treatments and stuff. I mean, he's even to the point where he will warm up horses for me for training sessions. If I'm having kind of a off day with chemo, he'll step up, and even though it's not necessarily his job, he helps me get it accomplished in an easier way. And he has stepped up quite a bit with just taking over doing chores, even when he doesn't really have to. And I am by far probably one of the luckiest people to have met such a kind-hearted and good man.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, if they want to get in touch with you, you are Cross Horsemanship?
Yes.
Okay. And then you're on Facebook and any other platform?
Just Facebook.
Just Facebook. Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you very much. And thanks for tuning into Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten.